It's time for episode 269 of 3 Point Podcast, presented by Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center and Skymint Cannabis. I'm Ted. I'm right here in mid-Michigan. Matt is at his home base in North Carolina, and the young buck, Jared, checking in from the Motor City. Well, our sponsor, Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center, it's just a great spot to go. Included with your membership is use of the locker rooms, private showers, steam room, sauna, lap pool, and so much more. Also included is use of the Sky Track. And if you're a youngster, stay on top of your game with a student membership. Get 3 months at a flat rate of $150. Start anytime, no enrollment fee. For more details, follow and like them on Facebook at Memorial Wellness Center, or get more info online at memorialhealthcare.org. Also, Skymint Cannabis, farm to stash, grown right here in the Great Lakes State. Over 20 locations and counting in Michigan, including their new store in Traverse City. Check out the Reserve. Fantastic profiles. And for more details, if you're over 21, go online at skymint.com. Sign up for the rewards program. Also, we want to thank our local partners. They include AZEE Printing Solutions, CR Auctions, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Taphouse and Grille. The patio now open, and it's that time of year to head on out to Rivals. And also Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. They save you big money on home loans. Well, we're going to be checking in with the Bower boys of Corunna, Tarick and Wyatt, part of the Cavaliers state championship track team. And they also have some big time football aspirations coming up this fall. But let's start, as we always do, a little catch up.
Well, it's a little bit of a special announcement. I went to my first MLB game in a long time. Ted, I know what you're thinking. We went to a game last year. What I would say about that is I was pretty buzzing by the time we even got to the game. And if you remember right, the Tigers gave up like 6 runs in the first inning. The entire crowd cleared out, and then there was a rain delay.
And it rained, yeah.
That's almost like that's null and void. It's not a fair review of the MLB product. So I went to the game on Sunday. It was 11:30 start. I'll be honest. My parents called me before I went with both my parents. They called me at about 11 a.m. and I was on my way to Meyer, and they said, "Are you going to be there for the game at 11:30?" I said, "What?" I thought it was a 1 o'clock game, so I realized. So I missed the first couple innings, but I did make it for the bottom 7. The Tigers did end up losing. Don't need to remind me on that. Here's my review. Here's my problem, and Ted, I have a problem with you for not noticing this, because this is me doing your job.
Hard to believe you have a problem with me. Hard to believe.
The constant stimulus at these games, it's unbelievable, man. Every 2 seconds, they are blaring music. There are people dancing. There's the scoreboard going crazy. There's the walk-up music. There's the in-between pitch music. There's the chanting. There's the clapping. There's the Adams theme song snapping. It's the worst thing I've ever been to, man. It's too much. I've been to NBA games, and NBA games are similar, but they're nowhere near to the level of what I saw yesterday at the Tigers game. You can't really even watch the game. You're more drawn to the scoreboard than you are to the actual play on the field. And maybe I'm crazy. I think I'm wrong. I think I'm in the wrong here. I think people love the whole energy and the music jolts and dancing and getting on the scoreboard. At least from what I saw, everyone and their mother was going nuts when they did the dance cam, the Simba cam, all that sort of thing. But I like baseball like it was in the 1920s, man. I like it where, there's buzz cuts, there's no numbers on the jerseys, and there's no music. You got to have the walk-up music. I appreciate that. I love hearing the guys' walk-up songs. But outside of that, I mean, oh my God, I was like going nuts. I don't know. I felt like I was in like a movie or a simulation, and I was like about to explode. It just so much. It's nonstop, man. Ted, how did you not notice this? I mean, is it because you're so used to the TV and you're always kind of in stimulus where you're studying for the pod, you're watching TV, taking notes for it? What was it? It just was too much for me, man.
Well, it's fun. It's funny you bring it up, Jared. I didn't really think about it, but I am one of these kind of people that I got to have background noise, I mean, I have a hard time working in complete silence. And you bring up a good point, because they do blast the hell out of you when you're at the ballpark. In fact, in the seats we were at, we had a speaker right up above us, man. And that thing was just blasting us the whole time, but I didn't think too much about it, but since you brought it up, it's a fair point. But you want to go back to the 20s where right. No pitch clock or what?
I mean, those games still went quick, man. I mean, I don't know. I thought the thing about it, it just took me aback. Like when I imagine baseball, I'm like, you're just there with the sights and sounds of the ball hitting the glove, the crack of the bat. Right. And it's not like that at all.
No. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I was a little flabbergasted at your take here, because I figured
it's a hot one.
I didn't know if you would love the concert atmosphere of a baseball game now, but you're all about speeding the game up and some of the new rules. So I'm kind of surprised that that's the angle that you took. Sometimes it is a bit much. Obviously, they're trying to keep the fans engaged and make it a fun, event for the fans. It sometimes it does seem to be a bit too much with the cameras in the crowd all the time, the dancing mascots and all that stuff going on, the music, like you said. Baseball is just supposed to be like not necessarily a gentleman's game, like golf, but a little bit like that. America's pastime, just a pure sport that is baseball. But it's entertainment. They got to play some music and make it fun for the kids and everything. So yeah, especially when the product on the field isn't very good, they got to do something to make it fun.
Well, I know that's the funny is like my mom, not the biggest baseball. She loved the scoreboard, man. She was watching it almost the entire time. I'm all about the in between innings. Give us those trivia moments. Give us the interviews with people in the crowd, the corn bag, competitions. With the walk-up batters, give us the song then. Strikeout, give us some sound effects. Home run, give us the music blaring, the tiger growl. But in between every pitch, and the ones that annoy me are like when it's like clap on beat. And they do that every batter, and they do that. They do the Addams Family snapping, as I mentioned. It's just I can't believe it.
Yeah,
I think it's my first time feeling like I'm just the old guy in the crowd because when I say everybody else is loving it, everybody else is loving it. But it's just not for me.
Yeah. It's come a long ways in that regard from when I started watching baseball at the old Tiger Stadium. I mean, you basically had the PA announcer and that was it, right? And you had some organ music and that was it. Yeah. But I think they've gone a little bit overboard too, frankly, now that you mention it. I mean, it could be toned down some to what they're doing. What they're doing right now, and maybe it is the way they have to go to keep interest, because to me, it seems like it's minor league baseball, right. Minor league baseball. They've been doing that forever, all kinds of gimmicks in between innings, all that stuff. But maybe that's the time we're in,
Yeah. Minor league baseball has even like gimmicky food and, like you see the Savannah Bananas. I don't know if you guys have seen clips of them. I mean, that's like a completely different league.
Don't even get me going on them, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I almost feel like, that stuff should be reserved for minor leagues where you pay 10, 15, $20 to get in. It almost is just like a carnival atmosphere almost. Major leagues, maybe they've gone too far, but they've got to do something to keep it fun. If you want people to keep coming back to the park for a team that's going to win 60 games, you got to do something to make it fun.
But here's a question. Why the 11:30 start?
That was
Peacock. Peacock standalone game at 11:30. The rest of the games don't start until 1:30 on Sunday. It was awesome. It was awesome, man. Out of the park by 2. It's right up your alley, Ted. You might need to look ahead on the schedule and circle all these for the
absolutely. I do like that.
Yeah, 11:30 start. Like I said, I missed my alarm, you could say. But yeah, all in all, there's nothing like going to a baseball game, man. Overall, a positive experience. I don't want to bash it and say like, don't go to a baseball game. I honestly think I'm in the minority. You guys are somewhat in agreement with me, but not all the way. But people are having fun. And at the end of the day, I can't hate on that too much. It just, if it was my perfect Jared world, it wouldn't be like that. But I understand that it's not my bubble. I'm not the sun. The world doesn't revolve around me. That's how I would do it. Is I would just have it 1920s style, man.
The 11:30 start too. I wonder if that's the TV production employee coming out in you too, because over the weekend we were doing a super regional, the one out in Oregon, and ours wasn't too bad. They were like 6, 8 o'clock starts, but there's some, because they're on the West Coast, it's like 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Eastern, because the time difference. And we say all the time, why not get these going at 9, 10 in the morning? Like just have the kids wake up. They don't want to be up late playing either. The fans don't want to be there till midnight, 1 in the morning. The production crew definitely doesn't want to be there. So get up, get warmed up and just get this game in before the weather starts coming in and all that kind of stuff. I've always thought, maybe maybe I'm getting older or something like that, but wake up and play.
Yeah. Amen. Well, I love baseball, and that college baseball can drag on a little bit, can it? I mean, it really can.
But there's a couple of our games went over 4 hours, and
geez Louise, man,
that drags.
That's tough. That's
well,
tough.
am I crazy? I just realized this weekend that college baseball games are 9 innings. My whole life, I thought they were 7. Is that something that recently changed, or has that always been the case?
It's been a while.
It's always been the case. Softball, obviously, is 7 innings. But baseball, they use the pitch clock still, college baseball. But I don't know if I've said it on here before. The managers over manage so much. Oregon in one of the last games used 10 pitchers. And it's just insane. The amount of mound visits and the amount of they get multiple reviews and they use all the reviews, and it just drags on. College baseball is sometimes, for all the excitement and the action and the bat flips and the trash talk and all the stuff, it's kind of a tough watch. It's just a long game.
There's every once in a while, and I'm glad we're talking about college baseball because I forgot that I made a mental note of this. Every once in a while you see a story that's perfectly made for Ted. I want your opinion on this. You too, Matt. I'm not sure if you worked this game, but Stanford's Quinn Matthews threw a career high 156 pitches in a win against Texas this a couple days ago in the World Series. Ted, a lot of people are kind of getting mad at this manager, and they're saying that this basically what they did to this kid and having him pitch that many pitches was, basically he should be jailed for it. Where do you stand on that? Because I know you looking back at your, quote unquote golden generation, that was just another day in the summertime playing ball.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that, and I kind of scratched my head on that. I thought, well, first of all, I have to say these kids aren't programmed to throw that many pitches. Right. I mean, I did think that was a bit excessive, no matter what, but he's probably going to be okay. I think he'll be fine. But yeah, it was a little bit out there. I could see where the uproar is. As far as I'm concerned, though, I mean, it is what it is. It is a little surprising. What round of the playoffs were they in?
The super regionals.
Regional.
Yeah, before
so they had to move. They had to win that game to move on.
Yeah, and yeah, I think he started in their first game and then pitched again on 2 days rest and then pitched that game 156 pitches. So
it
seems a bit excessive. He's probably whatever, I don't know, 19, 20 years old. So, obviously in good shape, but you just wonder if it's going to catch up to him. You see, like Casey Mize is kind of dealing with this in his pro career. He threw so much at Auburn in college. You wonder if that kind of caught up with him in the pros. So, if it's a one-off that he threw 150 pitches, probably fine. Right. But, you just wonder if it's going to catch up to him.
Does it change your guys' opinion if, from what I'm reading right now, it sounds like he basically was like he wanted to do this? Sounds like he could have been a MLB draft pick last year, came back, wanted to make it to Omaha. If he said, if he told his manager, don't take me out, no matter what, like I'm finishing this game, I'm winning us this game, does that change your opinion? Or is it the manager's job, no matter what, to come and get him and take him out, once he reaches whatever the pitch limit might be?
Well, it's the manager's job to decide one way or the other. I mean, I don't think any pitcher really is going to say, yeah, take me out, coach. You know, so it's up to the manager. But as far as the pitch count goes, I guess he has to play it by ear. It does seem a little bit, like I said, that definitely seems excessive, what you said, Matt, leading up to it. So I don't know.
I mean, like you said, Ted, no pitcher is ever going to say, take me out unless they're hurt. Maybe every pitcher, you see them slam the ball down when they get taken out and stuff. I think I think of Johan Santana. He was a good pitcher for the Twins and then the Mets for a while in the major leagues. He threw a no-hitter. I edited the highlight it was the first no-hitter highlight I ever edited for SportsCenter was Johan Santana, but he threw something crazy like 160 pitches because it was going to be his first no-hitter.
Right.
Pretty sure it was the Mets' first no-hitter too.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, and he was never the same after that. Literally, he was never the same. He was on the injured reserve the rest of his career, basically, and never the same. Obviously, different circumstances, but you just wonder, if that, like, kind of to Ted's point, that's the manager's job to be like, hey, man, I know you want to finish this, but you're at 125 pitches right now. Like, let's go to our bullpen and try and save your arm. But
this is apples to oranges, but it is true what you're saying. Pitchers will not tell them; they'll never admit they want to come out. I remember back my very last year, I played baseball. My dad tells the story. Basically, I didn't get touched all year as a pitcher. I'm not like that's not me being cocky. I really didn't. I just I was that good. I matured before everybody else, so I was throwing heat nobody could keep up with. Anyway, we go all the way to the championship, and I was pitching well. kind of lost my head a little bit. There was a pop fly hit right up to the pitcher's mound, and I dropped it. And I was like, as a sixth grader, mental, like you're living and dying on every pitch, especially championship game. You really feel like I just lost it. Then you start walking everybody around the bases. And probably who knows how long this went on for. It felt like an eternity. Finally, my dad comes. He was our manager, comes and takes me out, and I say to him, "What took you so long?" And he still laughs about that every now and then. So it's true, man. No matter whether you're in fifth grade or you're pitching for the College World Series, you will never tell your manager to take me out.
You're just steaming at your dad as you're throwing ball four. You're like, take me out. What are you doing?
When you don't got it, man. And it was one or two. I was either going to strike out every batter I saw or walk every batter. There was no in between.
Oh, good stuff. Oh, by the way, going back full circle real quick, I think you saw it. I was at the Cleveland Guardians Red Sox game, and I've been at that ballpark before. I forgot how great it is. It's just a gorgeous stadium, man. I give that 3.0 out of 3.0.
That's surprising to me because it doesn't seem like there's much to it. What is it that you liked about it?
Well, they had one thing I liked, the left field. They got a big tall wall in left field, and they got vertical bleachers in left field below the scoreboard. That's kind of cool. It's kind of a modified thing on Fenway. It's kind of a compact ballpark. They got a couple different levels on the right field side. And then they got kind of a right field grandstand, kind of like they did at Tiger Stadium. It's just a neat setup, man. I can't be more impressed. It was fun. It really was.
Yeah, I've been there a few times too, and that's always was always my takeaway, that it was a newer ballpark, but it didn't feel like they were trying to be. They kept some of the like old classic stuff. Maybe it's new and it's nice. It's also cool how it's right downtown, similar to Detroit. It's right next to where the Cavaliers play.
It is.
You can walk to bars or restaurants or whatever right downtown Cleveland. So I always thought it was a cool place to watch a game too.
Yeah, and our hotel was right down at by the football field. Down by the lake. It's walkable, very walkable. It was like 9-10 blocks, but it was a quick walk, and just enjoyed it. So like I said, that's a 3.0 on the stadium grading system.
Man, you guys you're triggering every word in your brain is triggering something I need to ask you guys about. Maybe last thing before we move on to our our brothers.
All right,
Cleveland, you're talking about the Browns. They just unveiled their brand new dog logo today, and let me just be the first one to say it. I freaking hate it. I hate it, man. I understand that their old logo was boring, like just the football helmet, but it was classic. And that's what I always appreciated about the Browns. The Browns, their colors are horrible, their jerseys are horrible, but they're tradition. And for that reason, it kind of makes it cool. I absolutely hate that they moved from there to this new dog logo. Am I alone on that?
Nope. I'm looking at it right now. I hadn't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet either.
This is not something the Browns should do. We all know the dog pound and all that stuff with them, but you don't need to make your logo after it. I love the just brown logo or brown helmet and the brown jerseys. I thought that was classic.
Yeah, they really, and I mean, even the elf is an awesome mascot as
the little brownie. It's a brownie.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do appreciate about the new logo is that the bulldog has like a football helmet stripe through the middle of his forehead, which is funny to me. But no, I hate changing tradition. If the Detroit Tigers ever, I know they went through their phases back in the days where they would go away from the English D. I don't think they ever are going to again.
No.
But that's the day hell would freeze over if they ever transition away from the old English D. And I think that's exactly what Cleveland did by getting rid of that old football helmet.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. Yeah, they got the dog pound, but what's that got to do with the Cleveland Browns?
Right.
That's about as dumb as I've ever heard. And that's going to be on their helmet.
No, I don't know if it's on their helmet. I just think it's
their official logo.
Their new logo.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I could tell.
I'm sure they'll probably have some alternates, with it or something like that. But
oh well, time goes on. Well, speaking of time goes on, we're going to talk about Corunna football and have a little chat with Tarick and Wyatt Bower, the Bower Boys, coming up next right here on 3 Point Podcast. All right, next up on the podcast, a couple of great athletes over at Corunna High School. Just finished up their junior year, finished it in style with a track state championship. We have the Bower Boys, Wyatt and Tarick. The left Bower on my left is Wyatt, and over to the right is Tarick. And guys, thanks for joining the podcast, first of all. And let me just start right out of the gate. Congratulations on the state championship in track. And, just tell us how that went that day, how you picked up the hardware and, what clinched it for you.
Yeah, so we had a great day. I mean, our mindset all day was to just come in and do our best, and we were prepared to do that. So we came in, did our job, and we got it. So yeah.
I'd say I know Coach Sawyer really throughout the season was really pushing us to be the best, and he knows that we were the best around. And at States, I mean, our relays were phenomenal. I mean, very good. And the 4x1, we were cooking pretty fast, and I got the baton on the anchor leg and just took off. I didn't know what was going to happen, so I mean, it ended pretty well, I'd say, and it was amazing. It was fun.
This is a little bit of a funny question, but as somebody who I was never fast, never a superior athlete, you're mentioning how you're walking up on this track meet, state meet, and you guys are the best guys out there. Flat out, what's it like to be fast? As you're pulling away on that 4x1 in the anchor leg, leading it. What does that feel like? I've never experienced it.
I mean, it's nerve-wracking. It's exciting because, most of the meets we go to, I'm usually either winning the 100 or placing top 1 or 2. So I know I'm fastest out there, but there's some guys there that could actually run, and I was a little nervous, but I knew that my other guys on the 4x1 team could get it done, and trusted them, and took off, and that's all that happened. But yeah, it's pretty fun to be fast. Get to move around pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice advantage to have in any sport that you play, to have that kind of top end speed like you guys do. I wanted to ask about football. I've got a couple pictures from now 20 years ago, back when I was playing. You guys will be there soon. I appreciate the time that you have right now. Take advantage of every moment that you have, practice and everything like that. So it's crazy to think 20 years ago is when I was playing. Ted, you're even longer than that. But
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask about football. So obviously you guys got a lot of recruiting going on, and a lot of success already, and you've got a big year coming up. What's kind of the mindset that you have heading into the season? I mean, is the goal state championship, or do you have some other goals that you want to build up to, or kind of what right now? We're recording in mid-June. Is your mindset for the football season coming up?
Yeah, right now, I think we're more fundamentally sound than last year, and we have better athletes coming in from last year, returning guys. We only lost 3 guys on defense, so we got most of the guys returning on defense. Offense is looking good. So, I mean, right now, our goal is to go undefeated in the season and hopefully compete for that state championship like we did in track, and see what happens.
Yeah, I would say the same. I mean, I have full confidence that, because we've only won a district, so me and Tarick, our sophomore year, won a district, and my goal is to win another district and a regional and a state title. So that's my goal this year. Just really push the guys and have a great season.
I would say there's no reason not to have that as your goal, given everything else that you guys have already accomplished. I mean, yes, Corunna isn't stacking up state championships in football. So that's kind of where my question is going to come. You guys know, everyone on this podcast is very proud Corunna Cavalier alums. I mean, you guys will be alums. Proud to have played football. Your dad also, your dad was kind of back more in my day. I had some siblings up around when he was playing. So I remember watching your dad play. So you know Corunna football, the history. What would it mean to you guys, to your family, to, your opinion, to the community, if you could get to Ford Field and bring a state championship in football to Corunna?
That'd be unbelievable to me. I mean,
yeah.
My dad did play here. My grandpa's went here. My great grandpa's went here. So we're trying to build a legacy, and I mean, it'd be amazing to me just to top it off. So yeah.
I mean, since we won the state championship in track and all the people gathering around and congratulating us, I think if we did it in football, it'd be even bigger. Because this town really thrives off football. That's what I feel like. Everybody knows football. Everybody loves it around here, and it just brings everybody together, especially with the new field and the facility that we're getting. Definitely help.
You know, nothing against the track parade through town, you know, with the fire engine and all that. I mean, it would be just absolutely spectacular if you did it in football, no doubt. Now, both you guys are tremendous athletes. We've already established that. What do you need to do this summer, you know, to make that step up and be ready to go in the fall? You got kind of a difficult schedule. You know, you got a lot of road games this year. You do have Goodrich at home, but what do you got to do, you know, to attack the regular season?
I would say just keep what we're doing, like doing what we're doing, and get all the guys on the team on the same mindset that we are. We need to figure out what our goals are and accomplish those. So we need to work summertime and beginning of practice to accomplish those goals and be prepared to accomplish them.
I mean, I'd say like just being like there's most of the guys are returning, so I'd say just working on our craft more. Like for me, going to camps and being recruited, I've talked to a lot of coaches, and they've given me a lot of input about like wide receiver stuff. So I've been trying to talk to the guys on our team about wide receiver and fundamental stuff, trying to work on it with them, getting better. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to help coach, be a player too, and make everybody better. And yeah.
Going way back, I've always wondered this back in the day when, we used to have these quarterback workouts early in the morning. Wyatt used to be there. I always wondered this. How did you guys decide who was going to be the quarterback, who was going to be the wide receiver, running back? How did that work out way back when?
Well, I don't know. In youth football, I guess I just wanted to be quarterback really bad. And, I mean, he was the backup, but he didn't really like it as much as me. I guess I just kind of picked it up. But, yeah, I just loved it from when I started doing it. And I remember those workouts in the morning. You were up like in high school, and I was just little guy. So I looked up to you a lot, so it means a lot. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, well, I could tell. I mean, everybody knew how good you guys are going to be. It's got to feel pretty surreal to get to this level, to be heading into your senior year. I mean, that's the best time of your life. You guys should be really excited about this summer and this fall. But what's it been like seeing all the kind of outside accolades, the offers? You guys are showing up at state meets. You're dominating that. Is it kind of surreal to be where you're standing right now, heading into your senior year? Could it be any better?
Well, it could always be better.
Right.
Always have more stuff going on, but I mean, I try not to get too
Caught up in it.
Yeah, too caught up in the action going on. I try to stay on level ground and, just, stay on earth and work on my craft every day and keep getting better. So.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, the offers are great, everything, but we're still in high school and we still need to accomplish our goals. I mean, I have goals that I need to accomplish. So all that's great and everything, but we still got work to do. So, yeah.
Going back to last year, I mean, the team that ultimately knocked you guys out of playoffs was Portland. And going back to even when I was a player, Portland's always been that tough-nosed. Even a year before you guys played them, they just knocked off DeWitt, who ended up going all the way back to Ford Field in D3. What did you guys learn from that game, knowing that that's probably a similar type team you guys will need to beat, in districts or even regionals to hopefully maybe make a push to Ford Field? What did you guys learn in that game?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I just feel like I need to focus on what I'm doing more. I mean, they were tough, and defensively, we didn't game plan enough for that because they had a great running game. We did not game plan enough for that. So, and offensively, I mean, they were tough. So we just got to figure out what we're going to do to overcome. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we weren't too far. The score was pretty close, if I remember.
Yeah.
And it comes down to, big plays. They had a couple big plays from the running back, and we couldn't stop him and produce that many. So we made a lot of mistakes, and the game comes down to mistakes at the end of it. So whoever makes less mistakes, wins the game usually. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we all know sometimes a lot of luck is involved. But yeah, that good question from Jared, because I'm sure it was a learning experience for you guys heading into, I mean, it's such an advantage for you guys to have so much talent coming back, like you just described, with all that experience. So yeah, I just can't imagine the conversations that you guys are having in the weight room and at camps, 7-on-7s, everything like you just said, to try and get on the same page and be like, hey guys, This is honestly, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. This stuff doesn't come around very often in Corunna. Ted would be the first one to tell you that. I mean, my team went 9-0 back in 2002, the last team at Corunna to go 9-0. I do like to bring that up every once in a while on the podcast. But, you know, like this, a team like what you guys have doesn't come around that often in Corunna. So I'm just, you know, I'm excited to see what you guys do this fall and see how far you guys can take it. I want to ask about, you know, you guys, you're probably the type of athletes that could be good at whatever you do. If you wanted to pick up the baseball bats, you could probably be good at baseball. If you wanted to get on the wrestling mats, you could probably be good in wrestling. Have you guys ever actually thought about focusing just on one sport, saying no basketball, no track, we're going all in on football, or maybe all in on basketball or whatever? Has that ever been something you guys thought about? Because my opinion, I think there's too much value in playing multiple sports. The skill that you get from track, the skill that you get from basketball translates on the football field and everything else you guys want to do. But I'm curious if that's ever been a thought for you guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about that because I've been playing multiple sports all my life. And I feel that playing multiple sports is just more beneficial to your body because you're not using the same muscles all year round. You're training all different kinds of muscles and you're doing different things. So I feel like that just gets you better for every other sport coming up. So, yeah.
I mean, like for track, it helps me with football because I'm in condition already. And I don't have to worry about getting, you know, my legs back under me. That's why I like track. And, you know, just running in general, sprinting, it just makes you faster. I feel like I get faster every time I sprint and helps me in football. And, yeah, I feel like it's good.
Yep.
Something we were all jealous of. You mentioned a little bit earlier playing on the new turf at the Nick and Neat Field. I remember back in my day, it was so wet and muddy and sloppy by the end of the year. It almost didn't feel fair that we were playing on it.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like breaking that in at the first game you guys played there this year? How much faster did you feel on that turf?
It was nice. I mean, that's like the first time I've really played on turf like that before. It was brand new, and we broke it in pretty well with that win against Fowlerville, so it felt pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that sucks about it is the turf burns, but those go away. But it's better than a muddy mess like at Kersley 2 years ago. That was not fun.
Yeah,
but,
that was terrible.
yeah, I mean, it was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. You know, my dad made us, me and Wyatt, a bet at first one to score in the new field. I won it. So yeah, first touchdown. So yeah, it's pretty
well, it's
cool.
a beautiful. Yeah. It's a beautiful home field for sure. And you brought up your dad. I know Dustin and your mom, both really outstanding athletes back in their youth, you know. So like you said, you got 4 generations right now cruising through the Corunna system and being standout athletes. But what kind of influence, you know, specifically have your mom and dad been, you know? And I know you got a chance to kind of rub it in Dustin's face a little bit on taking a record from track. That must have been kind of cool too, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty cool because a couple weeks before we broke at the state meet, we were really close at the honor roll meet, and I told him that we were going to get it. I told him, and he didn't believe me, but I told him. But yeah, they've been a big part. I mean, they've really been guiding us through the whole thing, the recruiting, summer workouts, and all that. So they've been a really big part for us, and I really value that.
I mean, yeah, for my dad, he's been with us since third grade. Flag football before third grade, always coaching us, always helping us getting better. And, you know, it's always nice to have a figure in your life that pushes you to be the best that you can. And he always made us do the hard workouts because he knew it would pay off. And it looks like it's paid off pretty well. So,
I'd say it's working out pretty well so far because I was going to bring up college recruiting. And you know, without getting you guys in any trouble with the MHSAA, what kind of things? I know you mentioned before that you want to focus on high school, and I think that's really cool. You still have a lot of goals to accomplish this season, or you know, your whole senior year. So I think that's really cool. But I want to ask about the recruiting process. Do you guys have anything that you're looking for specifically? Not to like spill the beans, but are you guys trying to stay together wherever one of you go? Do you want to be a package deal, I guess, or are you guys just going to see how it plays out?
I really want to play with him, so I would say yes to that question. Yeah, I want to be a package deal with him, so yeah, that would be.
They go both ways.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah, because it would always be nice to have someone that you know, like we room together in our dorms or. you're not having to make new friends or anything.
Right.
But yeah, you always have someone there if you need something. So yeah.
I don't
Again,
want.
not sorry, Jared, to cut you off. I don't want you to overstep any boundaries, but you did see a fellow Corunna alum was just at the White House after winning back-to-back national titles.
I did.
Is that even a possibility, or is that on the radar a little bit? You know, maybe heading up to Big Rapids, or are you guys again? You're still looking to see how it plays out?
Yeah, right now, I mean, my recruiting's wide open, so I'm still thinking right now, but I haven't made a decision yet. But yeah, I'm still thinking about it. So
yeah, stay with me. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Coach Anise would love to have you guys both. I mean, any coach really would. So this is kind of a weird question, but I asked around a little bit and I couldn't get a straight answer. It sounds like you guys kind of trade off sometimes. Who's faster? If you guys line up in a race, who's going to win?
I would say 7 out of the 10 times he would win, but that 3 times I would get him.
Okay. Yes, but it would always be. It's always a race. It's
Always
close.
Always.
Is there a difference in pads on the football field versus on the track? Who's got the better football speed? Who's got the better track speed?
Good question.
Ooh,
I don't know.
that's a tough one. It's
tough.
Because I feel like football speed and track speed is different.
Yeah.
Because some guys can be fast on the track and some dudes cannot be fast on the football field.
I feel like we're both pretty fast in the football field.
Yeah.
So
I always like to lie to myself. I think that's what slow guys do in track. You say that you're fast on the football field because there's not really any way to gauge it.
yeah.
So that's the way I like to roll.
Yeah.
What is it like competing against each other? Do you think it brings out the best in both of you guys, or like what's it like when you guys are stepping to the line and you're running against each other?
Yeah, for sure. Before every 100, we'd always talk trash to each other right before we get in the blocks. Every single meet. It's great because we always just push each other. That's why we succeed, because we just push each other every single meet, every single thing we do. We push each other, and that makes us better, both of us. So,
I mean, since I had the injury in basketball, in the first couple of races coming back at track, he'd beat me, so I was kind of fed up with it.
Yeah.
So I finally stood up and took care of him. So, I mean, yeah.
Speaking of taking care of him, I mean, growing up as close as you guys are, obviously twins, how many fist fights did you have growing up?
I mean, not many fist fights, but we used to, get at each other a little bit. But it's pretty mellowed out now. We just yell at each other and it's over with.
You guys need each other on the football field.
Yeah. I don't really recollect ever having fist fights, but we've always had. It got pretty close a couple times, but it wasn't ever really fist fights. So
okay.
Yeah.
I got one last question for you guys. I look back on my high school days, and even Matt, they used to throw the ball a lot. We threw it a decent amount, but you guys really can air it out on a different level than my teams or any other Corunna teams in the past ever could. What do you guys like about having, Tarick, you're out on the perimeter, Wyatt, you're throwing the ball? I mean, do you think you guys could throw on basically anybody out there?
Yeah, I feel like we could because, last year, not to hate on anybody, but not very many people could stop me on the street.
Right.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool because I think he knows where I'm going to be and I know where he's going to throw the ball. So it's just that connection that we have. And, yeah, I feel like we could beat anybody.
Yeah, it's pretty nice having him out there because I know I can rely on him because I know he's going to be open. So I can just rely on him to make a play when I need him to. So it's great.
That's such a receiver answer. I can definitely appreciate that answer. Just throw me the ball every time, and I've got your back. You see quarterbacks roll their eyes when you answer like that sometimes. You guys play for Coach Herrick, and he was my head coach. And I was going to ask a similar question than what Jared asked. I don't know if like your dad or anyone that you talk to, your grandpa, anyone in like previous Corunna generations, Ted knows Corunna used to be very ground and pound. I mean, establishing the run, that's Corunna's identity. I was basically going to ask the same thing that Jared asked. Like, the evolution of what high school football has become, especially for Corunna, does that excite you guys? I mean, especially, as a receiver and a quarterback, it has to. But, do you guys, is there different kind of offenses you want to run? Do you watch colleges and see maybe different things you want to do? Or does Coach Herrick give you guys input? Just kind of offense all in general. Like, what do you look for?
I mean, he likes to run the ball a lot.
Yeah.
He's more a running guy, and our offensive coordinator, Osceola, he likes more of a mixed. He likes to throw the ball too because he knows he can throw the ball. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like to throw the ball, but running the ball most of the time ends up pretty well because you got Jaden back there. He's a pretty big boy back there, so I trust him too. So yeah.
But what he was going on, it's like over time, it's just gotten more airing it out. So like, especially football. So a lot of passing, more not much run game, but like back in the day, a lot of run. I see a lot of like wishbone and all that stuff. So now that we're airing it out, I really like the pass game, and we still run the ball a lot. So it's great.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your team just a little bit. You know, Jared will be the first to say it. I mean, his big guys he had up front, that offensive line on his team was outstanding. You guys have a good offensive line too, and you know how important it is for, like they say, in the trenches on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it's really important. That's the baseline, because if you don't have a line, then you're not gonna be able to move the ball. So we have a really good O-line this year coming back, and I feel really good about it. So.
Who are some of the key guys on your team that you're looking for to kind of give you guys, you know, to help push you guys over the edge and reach the goals you want to? I know Jay Nettington's a really good running back. Who are some other players that you have that are some studs for you guys?
Bryce Eddington, his brother's coming back from last year. He'll be a junior, but he's still developing. He's still getting better, and he'll be really good by the time he gets senior year. And Parker Isham's another running back who's pretty good, pretty decent.
I would say some of the kids coming up from JV, there's some potential there too. Like Caden Cowdrey, Lucas Curran, all those guys coming up. Caden Cowdrey will probably start at safety with me. So he's got a lot of potential, and we're just going to coach him through it and get that experience. Because the experience from junior year to senior year, because junior year felt like really fast to me, especially at the quarterback position, really fast. So it'll definitely slow down this year, but yeah, just looking forward to getting those guys to where they need to be.
That was always something that was told to me, that the jump between junior and senior year, it really slows down, and it is true. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be exciting to see what you guys do out in the field this year. So we're all rooting for you here at 3 Point Podcast. So thanks again for coming on, fellas.
Absolutely. Again, Ted's semi-retired from the broadcasting games. He's hoping you guys make a run to Ford Field so he can keep following you guys along that run.
Let's plan on it.
Oh, definitely. Well, we appreciate it, guys, and you know, be kind to the old guy. That interception record's just hanging out there. You know,
I'm gonna get it. Don't worry.
You gonna get it?
I'm gonna get it. Right. I'm gonna get it.
Wyatt's already broken all my records, so I can't even say it.
I'll come shake your hand.
All right. Good.
Hey, fellas, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us here. We look forward to a big season. You know, I'm sure every night your mailbox has letters in it. It's got to be kind of interesting to see that. But we'll be following you along, all right? Good luck to you.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Success Group Mortgage and Servicing is Shiawassee County's only licensed mortgage broker, lender, and servicer. That means you get exclusive products not found anywhere else. If you are looking to purchase a home or refinance a home in Florida, Hawaii, or Michigan, stop what you're doing and give Success Group Mortgage and Servicing a call. 989-720-4380. That's 989-720-4380.
All right, guys, that was just great to hear from Wyatt and Tarick Bower. I mean, you know, just the comment I have is you don't always see kids do this. You could see at a very, very young age, they were special and they've just developed and grown all the way through. And, you know, it's very cool to talk to them.
Yeah, definitely cool. I know you guys have both talked to them, Jared. You've practiced with them. You know, they were young when you were coming through. But that was my first time having an interaction like that with them. So very cool to see they handle themselves well. Obviously very confident, which is big. You know, that's important too. And you know, we've talked a little bit off air. It's super cool to see. I kind of alluded to it a little bit in the interview. Corunna, and it's no shot at Corunna. We love Corunna. I think it's a very like storied mid-Michigan football program, you know, but it doesn't have stuff like this very often where going into the season, there's legitimate Ford Field aspirations. I mean, they've got everything coming back. I don't know if they really have any position that you could say is like necessarily, weak. And experience, like they said, they've played a lot of football together, a lot of playoff football too. So it's one of those things, man, for the town of Corunna. It's super exciting. I can't imagine the excitement that there's going to be at Nick and East Field. And I'm going to be definitely every Friday, I'm going to be keeping tabs and seeing what's going on, because that's going to be a heck of a team. It's going to be a heck of a team.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch them develop and grow over the years, from when they were little tykes to up until now. I mean, they're just two really good dudes. So we appreciate them for coming on. And, you never want to put the pressure of Ford Field on, some young high school kids. I just hope that they have a great, fun year, which I'm sure they will, whether win or lose. But I know that they're thinking about Ford Field. So that's always cool to hear. And we'll be there rooting for them every step along the way.
Yeah, they'll
one
have
of those
fun.
Things too, Jared. You kind of mentioned it a little bit about. I think we both maybe kind of did, but just the excitement. When you see them and you kind of like go back to your, that summer before your senior year, where they were mentioning they got 7-on-7s in camp and all this other stuff. You start to kind of remember that, and you don't want to get like too preachy to them and sound like a dad or whatever, but you almost want to be like, guys, because I'm sure they're hearing it from their dad and everyone else, but you want to be like, man, try and soak up every moment of this that you can, because I mean, Wyatt kind of said, his junior year went by like that super fast. It's going to happen too with the senior year. Even if they make a run to Ford Field, that season is going to fly by. And next thing you know, they're going to be playing in college. For people like us, the last time you played high school football, that was the last time. So it's just, you almost want to say a few times, like, try and stay in the moment, try and like soak this up and try and take advantage of this, because it doesn't happen. This kind of thing does not happen very often. And Jared, you're probably starting to relive it. Ted, I know too. These are the kind of things you talk about with your buddies for the rest of your lives. Those guys that you play with 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, Ted, your dad was still talking to the guys that he played with,
Absolutely.
So these are memories that you're going to remember the rest of your life, literally the rest of your life. 100%. This is stuff you're going to remember.
And you just hope that, and I think they understand that. I mean, obviously they're going to play a lot more football than we did after high school.
Right.
But my favorite part of that whole thing was hearing Tarick talk about how he's been trying to pass on some of the knowledge that he's learning, out at these camps and all that sort of thing to these other wide receivers. And that would be, my challenge to those two guys is they're both very, very good players. Obviously, both great guys. I would want, something I wish I would have known a little bit more about when I was a player, and I look back on with a little bit of regret. How can you bring, your entire team with you to the next step? I mean, these 3 months are so critical to a high school football season. So how can they bring not only themselves to the next level, but bring as many guys on that team with them as they can? That'd be my challenge to those two guys.
That's going to be the challenge. And I think from watching this team in core the last 2 or 3 years, I think they've got it together. They don't need a whole heck of a lot of encouragement, just a little push. That's why you have captains, right? To help the coaches. And this team, especially the seniors, they know what's in front of them, and they know they need to avoid the distractions, if you will, and just concentrate on what's in front of them. And they got a great opportunity, and I'm sure they'll do it. And it's going to be fun to watch.
I think one thing that, kind of like what you were all kind of saying, but we're mid-June, and the football season, if you make it to Ford Field, goes through November.
Yep.
That's 5 months of your life, man. That's 5 months. So, if you can put aside some of those distractions and maybe some of those things that would take away from the work you're putting in, or, some of that stuff, it's a very small opportunity that you have that, for the rest of your life, you're going to think about. And, it's not like you said, Jared, they're going to go on and play in college, wherever they decide to go. I'm excited to see that too. But this is something that, the community, like you said, Ted, when we were talking to them, the track thing was cool. I remember the community following us around. Jared, you probably definitely remember the community following you. I remember the community following us around to Breslin for our basketball season.
Oh yeah.
If football, it's kind of like what we say with Detroit sports. The Tigers are cool, Pistons are cool, but if the Lions ever made it to the Super Bowl, Detroit sports would implode because it's football and it's the Lions. I think it's kind of the same with Corunna. If they made a run to Ford Field, there would be nobody left in the town of Corunna. They would all be at Ford Field.
Wouldn't that be awesome, man? I mean,
I would fly back. I think I would fly back and go.
It's a football. Yeah, that's something you have to. It's your duty as a Corunna football alumni to be there for that.
100%.
No, they were exactly right when they said, I mean, Corunna's a football town. It really is. I mean, we've had more success in basketball over the years, but I mean, nothing gets the community excited more than a good football team.
Friday Night Lights, baby. Nothing like it.
Yep.
All right, we'll be back with a little bit more right after this.
Rivals Taphouse and Grille is the area's go-to spot for the best in food and drink. Meet up with your friends and catch your favorite sporting events on over 20 high-def flat-screen TVs.
And our 120-inch projection screen.
Rivals can handle your large or small parties and is an awesome spot to put on your fundraising events. Weekly food and drink specials including gourmet burgers, wings, pizza, homemade soup, and salads. Rivals also stocks a large selection of craft and domestic brews. Rivals Taphouse and Grille, the official gathering spot of 3 Point Podcast, located on the corner of Shiawassee and M21 in Corunna.
All right, let's take a little short sports potpourri. Let's just jump right into the Tigers. Jared has his hat on. Since I went and saw them play Texas, a 3-2 win. I think they've lost 9 in a row now.
That was the last victory. Yep.
Have not won in June.
Brutal, man. It sucks. I mean, the thing that it kills me is I really do enjoy all the guys on the team. I think it really is a fun bunch that has a good time, and they seem like good dudes, and we like Hinch, and we think Sky Harris has the right plan. It's just I think we got a little carried away with the start of the year. Obviously, the injuries have hurt us. I mean, Riley Green getting injured, deflated, seems like everybody in the state of Michigan, man.
Yeah.
So I don't want to grade them too harshly because we know it's a rebuilding year, and obviously when you lose your best player who led the entire MLB in batting average in May, I mean, that's a big blow. So it's just brutal. They gave us a good run. The season's far from over, but man, it's just been a rough week. It's been a rough month, man. I mean, just got to get that win. You just hope if they get that win, they've had a few blown leads. If they just get that one win, hopefully they can get something back rolling, but it's tough.
Yeah, I don't think the Riley Green injury should be understated. I mean, he was playing really well, like you mentioned, and he's the table setter. You know, he got that offense going, the little bit of offense that the Tigers had. And, you know, he was like the leader of the defense, basically, in the outfield. You know, he was a huge part. So that injury is huge. Erod got hurt. They had some other injuries, obviously, too. So, you know, I said it, I don't know, a few weeks ago or, you know, whenever the bad offense was going to catch up to them at some point. They were kind of getting by, you know, the pitching was really doing well. And they were just eking by in a lot of wins. You know, they'd get a couple runs here or there, but they were still at the bottom of the league in every offensive category. They still are, and it's clearly catching up to them now. I mean, Spencer Torkelson, they're currently losing right now to the Braves. I'm surprised you're not working, Jared. But Spencer Torkelson's hitting 227. I mean, he's supposed to be like the guy he's supposed to be like the all-star. He's supposed, you know, number one pick. Baez, obviously, he's at 218 right now. So, I mean, it's just these are the guys that are supposed to be up around 300 or above 300 and hitting a bunch of home runs, driving in runs, and it's just not happening. So,
yeah. I mean, Hinch's big challenge right now, especially after this 9-game losing streak and this stretch of tough teams they're playing, he's just got to kind of somehow pull them together, finish respectable, you know, and kind of look to next year. I mean, we know this year's pretty much done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that, like, for a while they were kind of hanging around in the Central. We kept mentioning how bad the Central was, but now they're just falling back.
I mean, like 10 days ago, they were a game under 500. 10, 11, 12 days ago, they were a game under 500. It's really turned quick. I'm going to be the positive beam of light that I think the podcast needs right now. I think the Tigers are very close. Here's why. I think what we've seen this year, where we traded away all these bullpen pieces, right? And we have our very good pitching coach, Chris Fetter. I really do think that whatever you give him, he's going to get the best out of those pitchers. We've seen it where Eduardo Rodriguez, you know, earlier this year before he got hurt. I mean, he was pitching as good as anybody in baseball. Michael Lorenzen's almost having like one hell of a season this year. Alex Lang's had a couple of rough starts or rough appearances lately, but he just won reliever of the month. These are guys that, you know, weren't very super highly heralded guys. And we have all these other, you know, young arms, if they can stay healthy, and Mize and Skubal and Manning, where I really do think the Tigers pitching could be elite as soon as next year. And you just hope if we can get a couple more bats in the lineup. I think a couple good bats in the lineup added to this current roster with everybody healthy, I think it's a really good team. it's tough when you're already kind of short-staffed and then you have all these tough injuries to go along with it this year. Right. I mean, it's just at some point you can hang on for so long when you're healthy, but I mean, injuries are a big deal, and I don't think we can overlook it. Yeah, it's the easy thing to do is to point, say, they're struggling, they're not very good. But I mean, they're missing so many key players; it's almost hard to gauge it.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, and there's no one in the farm system either, so
right.
It's not like you've got a few guys in the minors. Like you saw, the Reds just brought up what looks like the next best player in the major leagues in De La Cruz, and it's just like the Tigers have no one like that in their farm system. So you just got to hope they can sign a couple guys, and some of these young guys turn it on.
Yeah. Well, let's
We've
move
been
it
saying
from
that for 10 years. It seems like.
Yeah. Hey, at least the Cabrera era did take them to a couple of World Series. They didn't win the World Series, but they at least got a couple. So maybe they can make that next step in the next couple of years. We'll see. Yep. Going from the Tigers to NBA Finals, we're recording this on Monday night. The series could be over as Denver has a 3-1 lead at home now. I mean, it's been just impressive watching them play. It looks like the Heat maybe just not going to have quite enough, but this is an impressive Nugget team.
They're freaking good, man. Jokic is incredible. I think we don't need people don't need us to say that to believe it. I mean, holy cow! Every game, it's like he makes the perfect decision every time he has the ball. Every time the Nuggets are on offense, they seem to be getting a great shot almost every time. This is something that's going to make me sound like a loser NBA fan. The finals don't feel as big this year. It's because one, there's no LeBron. And I'm a huge LeBron fan, so whenever he was in it, I always had a big-time rooting interest. There's no Steph Curry, who you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of, so I always was able to root against him in the past whenever LeBron wasn't there. Is it just me? I think even if the Celtics would have made it to the finals this year, like, it would have felt big. Maybe it's just me. I think I'm the idiot that, I'm complaining like, oh, this basketball isn't good enough for you. Jokic is maybe the best player in the NBA. It's not good enough for you. I can't change my brain. And that's how my heart feels, is that I've been tuning into the games, but it just doesn't feel the same. Doesn't have the same oomph as when there's that star power in it. And I know that's a lame thing to say. People complain about the TV ratings and stuff like that. We shouldn't care about that. But there is something to be said about a guy like LeBron or a Steph Curry who has that sense of showmanship and watching them on the biggest stage. And I just think we're missing that a little bit this year. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. If you're an NBA fan, and I guess if you want to say it, like, if you appreciate basketball, then yeah, you'll be enjoying these finals, because the Nuggets and Jokic are just incredible to watch. How good they are, so efficient, and I mean, they swept the Lakers, and they probably should have swept the Heat. So if you appreciate basketball and you're an NBA fan, then you're enjoying these finals. But right, there's no huge storyline, because the Heat, it was a cool story, but it was going to kind of catch up to them at some point. They were going to run against a team that was just flat out better than them. The Celtics were just a mess. That's why the Heat were able to get by them. So the Heat doesn't really drive ratings necessarily. Not only the Steph thing, but people just either love or hate the Warriors. So people are going to watch the Warriors. People are always going to watch LeBron. Even someone as exciting like the Suns with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, CP3, that would have been a little more of an exciting team to watch. It's almost like the Nuggets are just too good. Like, say if the Heat had kind of stretched this to 6 or 7 games, maybe people would have watched those last couple games. But I think after game 1, 2, definitely, now up 3-1, people are like, this is just a foregone conclusion. The Nuggets are going to win this thing. They're so much better. So,
yeah,
it's been fun to watch, and it looks like they're setting up for a little bit of a dynasty, because they're young. They've got 2 superstars, and they've got a lot of really good role players. So the Nuggets, they're going to be around for a bit, it seems like.
It looks like it. And I do enjoy watching it. I mean, Murray, I really didn't know a whole lot about him. He's a great player, man. He's elite. And then I'm just fascinated with Joker. I mean, I'm just fascinated watching him every time he touches the ball, how damn good he is, I mean, he's just unreal. So that part I'm not disappointed on. But I think, Jared, your take, it's legit as far as what are the TV ratings? They got to be down, aren't they?
I haven't seen, but I would imagine.
Yeah, I haven't seen either. One thing on the NBA I want to throw out there at you, especially Matt. I'm just going to start this rumor ahead of Monty Williams getting announced as the head coach for the Detroit Pistons tomorrow on Tuesday. Chris Paul, there's some rumors he might have been waived. He maybe wasn't. He might still sign with the Suns. Sounds like it was maybe the Suns just putting out a feeler about him potentially getting waived. I understand he's in the last twilight of his career, but tell me it wouldn't be awesome to get him somehow, some way into a Pistons uniform to mentor our young two guards and Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, the similar way that he did in Oklahoma City with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he could even reunite with for the third time now in his career with Coach Monty Williams. It's too perfect. I've heard nothing about this. I've heard no reporting about it. I don't think he's interested at all in that. He wants to win a title. But I'm just going to start the rumor on this, national platform, 3 Point Podcast. Let's get CP3 in a Pistons uniform. What say you guys?
No. Stay far away from that. The only reason, you guys know I'm not a CP3 fan. And I get what you're saying, because if he wanted to be in a mentor role, type of thing, and be reunited with a coach that he's had some success with, that can make some sense. I don't think he wants anything to do with the Pistons. He wants to go somewhere that's a contender next year, and that's definitely not the Pistons. So I highly, highly doubt your rumor is going to take off at all. But also, I don't know if he's necessarily the type of mentor you want for Cade Cunningham and Ivy and some of these other guys, because he hasn't won anything. He's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure. He's one of the best point guards ever. He's never won anything though. So what is he mentoring on? How to punch dudes below the belt and get hurt in the playoffs? What? I don't think he's necessarily that kind of mentor. If it was someone like, if the Pistons could draft Bronny and you could get LeBron to come there for a year, do that for sure. But no,
listen,
not
I'm
CP3.
You guys know me. Me and Matt are anti. We're on the opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to CP3. My favorite player, Matt's probably least favorite player. I can understand there is kind of a point of diminishing returns with Chris Paul. It seems like with a lot. He's been through a lot of teams now. He's a great leader. Seems like when he walks into a building like he did with the Suns, it immediately changes the franchise's, competitive edge and how they practice and all that. But after, 2, 3, 4 years, it does seem like he kind of wears thin on people. Right. And he'd be the first one to admit that, I believe. So yeah, I could see why you would say that. Again, it's just a wish upon a star. Probably not going to happen, but just in my own personal world, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, count me out. So I'll just make
You're
it
out
that.
As well. What's your reasoning?
Well, I just don't see him as being that kind of mentor, and I don't think they don't need him to be a mentor. Just put the players out there, let the coach them, and let them play and learn the game. You don't need it. You don't need him. He hasn't. What's he shown? He's a decent player. He's no point guard as far as I'm concerned. Hey, he's supposed to be the greatest point guard. Never won a championship. Never won a championship. Point guard. Come on.
Don't even listen. Just move on.
It's not even close.
Get me going. Now, all you guys did was now I'm going to come up with a whole resume for next podcast, and I'll
that resume will be missing one thing: NBA championship.
What do you want him to do? Just jump ship in the middle of his career and form a super team with LeBron? He didn't do that. You'd bitch about that if he did that.
Wasn't he on a super team with Phoenix?
I guess you could call it a super. How was that a super? It was him and
that's a damn good team. Couldn't get them over the hump.
He's 38 years old. He's
so yeah. Let's bring him into Detroit.
I'm not saying you bring him in and play him 40 minutes a game. I'm saying you bring him in and he practices. He travels with Cade and Ivy everywhere. Brings him under his wing, man.
Okay.
He was on some super teams with the Clippers, with the Rockets, and with the Suns.
Right. Well, you guys will admit. We all saw it. Listen, I can't back up his injuries. Obviously, he's had a lot of injuries. Yep. That's just bad luck. I would say. He's also a small guy. He pushes his body to the limit. I can't make excuses for the injuries. But you guys remember they were up 3-2 on Golden State when they won 73 games, and he has an injury, and they probably end up winning that series, and who knows, they might even end up winning the finals that year. But
maybe
don't get me going on Chris Paul. I'll go all night. So let's just move on.
All right, we'll
sounds like a lot of what ifs.
Hey,
Isaiah Thomas figured it out.
Yep. I know, and the old phrase. Almost someone only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So I guess you could throw that on Chris Paul's career.
Oh, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I think the no championship thing is going to be a major knock on him.
Absolutely,
in the overall discussion.
Is he a Mount Rushmore point guard?
No,
in my opinion,
not mine.
Magic,
Bob Cousy right there.
Listen,
Magic and Isaiah for sure.
Absolutely. Steph Curry.
Wasn't Oscar Robertson
Walt Frazier,
considered a
maybe
point
Oscar
guard?
Robertson. Yeah, I mean, there's been some good ones. I'd put ahead of Chris Paul for sure. Ones
There
that have
you
won
go.
championships.
Without even trying to think
Enough
about
of
it,
the
we just
stupid
knocked
ring
him off.
culture, man. Enough of the
Yeah.
stupid ring culture. It's not all about winning a ring. It's all about winning a ring. I mean,
It's all about winning a
Ted,
ring. What are you talking about?
A few
That's
podcasts ago, you're loving Damian Lillard. How he never leaves Portland, and now in a couple years you'll be hating on him because he never won a ring. So
I'd take
you're all
Damian
over.
Lillard over CP3. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
He didn't ever won a ring. So what?
I know, but I'd
'cause
still
he's
take
stuck in
him.
Portland.
All right, that's enough of that. Let's wrap it up strong. Quick little Tedertainment Tonight, and then we'll be right back after this.
All right, I'm gonna hijack your segment for a quick minute here, Ted. Tonight. I'll be quick. I just had to say this, man. I had sincere, they call it FOMO, fear of missing out. I did miss out this weekend when Taylor Swift came to town. 120,000 people packed into Ford Field over 2 days. 3-hour and 20-minute concert. It was all anyone talked about all week. The traffic was unbelievable. Thank God I didn't have to work the Tigers game that night. It was. I've never seen anything like it. I imagine what it might have been like when, Prince was in his heyday, or the Beatles. I mean,
Right.
I've never seen a star like Taylor Swift. She could have sold out for a month straight at Ford Field, I think. I mean, the resale value of all these tickets, one, I'm surprised Ted didn't make an appearance there. Two, I'm surprised you didn't see the cash grab you could have had if you got tickets and resold them. That seems right up your alley. But just what an event that was. And I feel like I'm going to regret it for a long, long time to come. It seems like a real significant culture moment that's happening right now with this Eras tour, the friendship bracelets, the people parking out in the parking lot, not even going to the concert, but listening to the music to the point where Ford Field had to put out a disclaimer: do not do that. There's nowhere you're not gonna be able to hear the music. It's just crazy to me. I have to say it. I am sincerely regretting not getting tickets, no matter what the cost was.
No, she's a megastar, and I'd be curious to hear. I mean, yeah, you said the Beatles. If Ted can think of somebody, kind of through his days that had that kind of impact.
Led Zeppelin.
The one I can think of real quick, and I don't think he's necessarily on a Taylor Swift level. He's pretty big though, is Luke Combs. And we went to his first concert, but when he finally made it big, his first concert here in Charlotte, because he's from North Carolina.
Yep.
And it was a big deal. It was his first time headlining a concert at a major venue in basically his home state, so that was a big deal. And it's similar. People were talking about it for months, and tickets were like hard to come by. So we did go to it. So big deal. But you're spot on, because I know people from work, I'm trying to remember exactly what they did, but they were having to like months ago, they were getting on whatever website, like Capital One's website or whatever it was, and like refresh to try and get tickets, trying to get in the queue. People are dropping thousands of dollars on tickets and all that kind of stuff. So the one thing about once in a lifetime opportunity that I kind of don't get, she's going to continue to tour. So I'm going to assume maybe she's not going to do the same thing next year, but there's going to be another tour. So is it once in a lifetime? I get what you're saying, but there's going to be another chance to go see her. It is pretty crazy to see, people can take shots at her music and what genre is she? Is she country, pop, or whatever takes people want to make about her? But there's no doubt about it. She is a mega star. She is just everything about a mega star in the music industry. It would be cool to go.
She's top of the heap. There's no question about it. I do agree with Jared. I mean, you sometimes throw it at me. She's a little bit out of my my sweet spot as far as concert going goes. I don't know what the cheapest ticket was to get in, but we had talked about this on a previous pod, maybe $400 or $500 limit. I mean, there was tickets going for a whole lot more than that, but I do agree with you, Jared, that you probably should have put a little more effort into it right from the get-go and got on board, try to get a ticket, because that's your age group. That's your kind of night. I mean, and it is epic. I mean, it was.
The crowd was unreal from the videos I saw. Everybody's got their phones out, singing every word in use. I mean, Swiftie fans they're one of a kind.
Right.
Man. They really are. It's just crazy to show the impact it had on Detroit. Like I was talking to some of my coworkers went, and Tin Roof, the bar right across the street from Comerica Park. Usually you go there on a weekend, you just get in right away free. It was $50 entry fee.
Oh,
to get
50
to that bar. So that was kind of mind blowing to hear that.
Wow.
I saw someone say, an economist, or I don't know, someone, a reporter in Detroit said that the projections were that weekend was going to have a bigger impact on Detroit than the NFL draft next year.
Yeah.
So
it's mind blowing, man. It's I'm gonna miss out. Here's the Matt. You say she is gonna go on tour again. That is true. I just wonder, she's throwing such heat right now with every album she puts out, every song. I just wonder, is this gonna be the prime? Is this like the number one tour that when you look back, I don't know what that was for Led Zeppelin or whatever, Ted, 1975 compared to the Black
77. It was 77 for sure. That's when they played the Silver Dome and sold that out, and they were selling out stadiums before anybody sold out stadiums. That's the only one I can think of. Obviously the Beatles, but they were right at the very beginning of rock music, and they did play some decent stadiums. Shea Stadium, one of them, but Taylor Swift, you're right. I get what you're saying. This could be the pinnacle tour.
I know
be out again.
She's gunning for the all-time attendance rate. I don't know how she's not going to set it. It's unbelievable. So it could be the greatest concert tour ever. It seems to be where it's heading.
So I think part of it too. She hadn't toured in a few years, so this was almost like her return to touring. So that's part of it. So if she does next year in 2 years, not that it will have lost luster, but maybe it won't be the same as this one. I think it's we all like music. Maybe Jared, I know you're not as big of a concert goer, definitely as Ted or even as me, but it's one of those, even if you're not a big Taylor Swift fan, the ticket would be expensive. So there is that, but it'd be worth going for the show and just going and enjoying. Go sit up in the top if you have to and just enjoy the show. Everyone's in cool outfits, getting all dressed up and stuff like that and having a good time. It would be fun. It's crazy too, because I think I tweeted out, I've probably told the story on this podcast before, but I remember working at FYE in college when her first album dropped. Nobody knew who she was, this Taylor Swift. We'd play the album in the store all the time. I knew every word to every song because we played that album over and over and over. And no one knew who Taylor Swift was. I think she was like 16 when she broke, trying to be a country star, and all that. And they were like, who is this Taylor Swift? But, everyone's all mad that she's trying to be in country. And now this is what she is. It's just kind of crazy to see.
I still have that same kind of memory, man. I wasn't working at a store, but I remember seeing her for the first time on maybe one of the country music award shows or something, when she was 16 years old, had the long curly hair and, just playing the acoustic guitar. And you could tell right then she had something going, and especially being a songwriter. And that's where she just kills it.
Yeah.
Well, she sang the national anthem at Ford Field on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. She talked about that. I think that was right. The very first thing she said at the show. I feel like a loser saying this, but hey, it is what it is. I was watching Snapchat updates and Twitter videos of this. That was what she said. Very first thing when she came on stage before a 3-hour and 20-minute show.
Yeah.
That was like her kind of big coming out party, was playing Thanksgiving Day Lions game. And it's fun. It's crazy thinking about this. I have another friend I was talking to. They went to a concert to see her at Wharton Center in East Lansing way back in the day. Can you imagine seeing her at a small venue like that?
Yeah.
That's like something Ted would cherish for the rest of his life. So
definitely
here.
Yeah. And there's that epic photo too of her at Ford Field on Thanksgiving with Dan Campbell there, number 89, standing in uniform right behind her. It's pretty cool. Well, that's a good take there, Jared. I like that. My little Tedertainment input here, we talked about it before, taking your kids to the movies, right? To a children's movie. We were out in DC and took Harper to go see The Little Mermaid, the new Little Mermaid. And I got to say, it's very good. It's a takeoff on the animated version that was done a number of years ago. But this is live action. I think it was a big win. It was a little scary. It depends on the age group. Harper's 5. It had a couple scary spots and it was loud, but I just right out of the gate, being an adult watching this movie, it kind of reminded me a little bit of superhero movies. It had kind of the same take. The presentation was really good. So I'd give it a solid 2.8, even as an adult watching it. It was good.
Did the kids have any blow-ups during the movie? You had to escort them out, crying or anything like that?
No, a couple blowouts where Harper had to scramble over and sit on Grandma's lap. It got a little loud a couple times, a little scary, but other than that, hung in there well. It was one of those neat theaters, where they have reclining seats, and it was awesome. I enjoyed it. It was fun. We were already talking about taking the other granddaughters to see a movie down in the Detroit area. So it was a good experience. It's good when they have a little entertainment for the adults too. So it didn't bore me. I didn't fall asleep. All good.
Yeah, that's basically what I've heard. Obviously, there's the people who hate it because it's not the animated version. It's different and everything. So they're going to hate on it, like with all these live action remakes that Disney is doing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited to see it. At some point, we're going to watch it because I do. That's one of my favorite animated Disney movies, Little Mermaid. And I've liked all the live action remakes that they've done. I think they're cool. They're not the same as the animated movies. They try and make them like realistic or whatever. So I'm that kind of makes me a little more intrigued hearing your review of it. If you would have said 1.0 on the 3.0, I would have been like, oh man. But
no, and you know who Melissa McCarthy is, right?
Yeah, she plays Ursula, right?
She plays Ursula, and she steals it, man. She was fantastic. That's worth the popcorn right there. So I think you'll enjoy it.
What's your guys' go-to movie theater snacks? I'm gonna guess both of yours. Ted, I know you are the classic. Get the popcorn, load it up with butter.
Yep.
Get the M&Ms, dump her into the popcorn bucket, and maybe even a nice ice cold frozen Coke on the side, and maybe even at a certain theater like the one you were at this weekend, maybe even a brewski on the side. Matt, if I had to guess for you, you seem like the younger generation. You're like Sour Patch Kids, maybe with some obviously some movie theater popcorn as well, and obviously a frozen Coke, cherry flavored. If I had to guess, those pretty fair guesses.
Close.
Sour Patch Kids is spot on. That's the candy I go to at the movie theater all the time. Big old box of Sour Patch Kids, popcorn. I've never been a fan of the like slushy, the frozen Cokes at a movie.
Oh,
like if I want to drink, I don't drink soda anymore. But I used to get a big old Coke to go with that movie theater popcorn because I don't want to drink a slushy. Same with the beer. A lot of theaters have started serving alcohol. I don't want to sit in a theater and drink like one beer. It's just going to make me have to pee. It's going to make me tired. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. So now that I'm not drinking soda, I'd probably get like a high C, some sort of like something like that maybe, but no, popcorn and Sour Patch Kids, spot on.
Yeah, for me, it's popcorn for sure. Not doused in butter, but about half and half.
Do you do the fill up the bucket halfway butter?
Yeah, yep, I do that. And then it's the big bucket. So, sometime after the previews, it's already refilled back up. Yeah. And then I definitely a slushy guy. I start out with a Coke, and then I mix in a little raspberry, whatever sounds good. And I kind of make my own concoction. And then usually I will, don't tell anybody, but I usually like sneak in Butterfingers.
That's not
miniature Butterfingers.
I should have known that. That was a big miss by me, not coordinating in the fact that you definitely would sneak in snacks.
That's just how I roll, baby.
Butterfinger is kind of a interesting taste, though. I kind of gross with the popcorn, sticks to your teeth. I don't know. I don't like that pick, but
Butterfinger, huh?
Yeah, I like the little mini Butterfingers too.
See, I pictured you like being an old school guy, like an old school candy, like Snow Caps or Whoppers.
Yeah,
it seems like older people love Whoppers. It seems.
I do like Whoppers. I do like Whoppers. Nothing wrong with a good Whopper, both in the candy or the sandwich.
The sandwich. Yeah, you mentioned going to the theater with kids. We've taken our daughter a few times, to see movies, and it does change the experience a little bit. Attention span. You're probably going to be taking a bathroom break or two, yeah. It does change it a little bit.
It definitely does, but it's all good. It's all good.
It's fun.
All right, guys, let's get out of here. Let's call this a podcast. This has been 269 of the 3 Point Podcast, presented by Memorial Healthcare's Now Community Wellness Center and Skymint Cannabis. Skymint Cannabis, farm to stash, grown right here in the Great Lakes State. Over 20 locations and counting, especially with the new store up in Traverse City. Check out the Skymint Reserve that features exceptional profiles. They have Michigan's best bundles for deals on flower, vapes, pre-rolls, edibles, and extracts. ounces as low as $49. Gift cards are available. If you're over 21, go to skymint.com and check it out. Also, Memorial Healthcare's Wellness Center. If you're a youngster, stay on top of your game with a student membership. Get 3 months at a flat rate of $150. Start anytime, no enrollment fee. You can have use of everything, the beautiful SkyTrack, private showers, steam rooms, the cardio exercise theater, including treadmills, ellipticals, and free weights. Just get yourself in great shape before the school year starts. More details can be found online at memorialhealthcare.org. Also, thanks to our local partners, AZEE Printing Solutions, CR Auctions, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Rivals Taphouse and Grille, and Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. And again, thanks to Tarick and Wyatt Bower of the Corunna Cavaliers for the fun conversation. Good luck to them and the team as they head to training camp and football right around the corner. Peace and love, everybody. Be kind. Thanks for listening.